It's so easy to be yourself but still put on this mask of everything is good and everything's okay and it's always positive and it's always happy, when in reality it's not always that way. It's life, and it is so much easier to hide that when you aren't physically here in my life, because if I start crying, I'm gonna cut the camera and you don't see that. You don't see what's behind that. It's the most painful thing I've been through in quite a while.
It was painful to watch it.
I need to take like crazy anti-inflammatories, which totally sucks because you guys know I hate taking meds. I don't even know why I'm getting so emotional about this. I think that it's because I'm so passionate about living a healthy life, and I spend so much time on self-care and my diet and my exercise. I've been really having problems, like I said, with my digestion stuff, and it has made it absolutely excruciatingly awful. I don't even know if I'm going to be sharing this, because I don't know if I'm just in my head or if this is actually what's happening, or I don't fucking know. It is the 29th of July 2017, and I have been struggling for months with food intolerance, foggy memory, having problems carrying conversations in ways that I've never had problems before. I've had on and off blurry vision. I've had my body hurt. I feel like I'm an old woman. Glenn and I always joke about me being like a 9-year-old because I have hip pain, or I have back pain, or I have digestive issues, or fucking like intolerances, and I don't understand why I feel so old and debilitated at 26 years old. What the fuck is wrong? I'm nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous to film this. I have like sweaty palms. It's been a while since I filmed, and if you're new to my channel, this is going to be a doozy of a video to introduce myself to you. My name is Karissa Pukas, and I've been doing YouTube videos for almost 8 years, which is wild to me because it's kind of like growing up online. This adventure in my life is something that I never expected to deal with, and I never thought that I would be making a video about. But here we go. I pride myself on living a healthy lifestyle. It's something that I don't see as a fad or a trend. It's something that I genuinely enjoy living that way, so that's what I do. I've been vegetarian for, I believe, almost 6 years. I like to cut out dairy as much as possible. I make an effort at moving my body and being aware of what to eat, what not to eat, what to do, what not to do. And I also invite professionals into my life to help me build a better version of myself. And by professionals, I mean doctors, naturopaths, chiropractor, acupuncturist, nutritionalist. The list goes on and on. But with that said, I've been dealing with the most perplexing, enigmatic situation that I've ever experienced, and it was that I was continuously getting chronically more and more sick, regardless of how healthy I was living. It made absolutely no sense. Over and over and over, I am being told by professionals that I'm doing the right thing and that my tests are coming back normal, but I still am sick. It just didn't make any sense given the lifestyle that I lead and given the priority that I put it. I obviously didn't tell you guys every single thing that was happening in my life because it is personal, and putting yourself in a vulnerable position online isn't the most easy thing to do. And I don't want to feel like my channel and social media is me complaining or me talking about being sick all the time, because it gets old, and I totally realize that. But when it becomes such a huge part of your life that you're dealing with every single day, it's almost impossible to not address it. So after really struggling with a lot of health issues, in April, I believe, of 2017, I did a gut health video letting you guys in at a really vulnerable moment in my life where I had just gotten a lot of testing back and they weren't able to find what the issue was, but I was reacting to pretty much everything that I was eating. And I was terrified, and it was really frustrating, and I shared that with you guys. And in the comments of that video, I had a few comments saying, have you ever considered breast implant illness? And I remember reading it right away and being like, yeah, whatever, it's not going to be that. I've never had problems with capsular contracture, which is like your breast moving up and out of place when you have implants. I've never had any symptoms of problems of my boobs physically, so why would it be that? And I just kind of ignored it, and so I left it for a few months until I kept getting comments and I kept getting direct messages about breast implant illness. It was almost a year ago today that I checked my ego and I looked into it. And What I found absolutely changed my life. Last night, I just was so frustrated with not knowing what the fuck's been going on with me that I decided to look a little bit more into breast implant illness, and I couldn't believe what I found. I had such a distressing night reading all of these women's stories, and it's not like these random people, it's a lot of fucking people. And all of these women share exactly what I have been experiencing symptom-wise. I can't believe that more people aren't talking about this. When you have a breast augmentation, your body starts to have an autoimmune reaction to the foreign object and starts trying to protect itself from that foreign invader. Any type of breast implant, be it silicone, saline, cohesive gel, it doesn't matter. If you have saline implants, you still are dealing with silicone, because even though the filling of it may not be silicone, the outer shell is silicone. Your body's form of defense against that foreign invader is to build a scar capsule around the implant. Your body does not recognize that as a part of itself, so it begins to attack not only the implant, but the capsule itself. So regardless what type of implant you have, your body naturally has a reaction to it. Your body is consistently trying to fight itself. So while all that's going on and your body is trying to deal with a foreign invader, the foreign invader itself, the actual implant, is made up of some pretty disgusting things. If you actually look up each of these individual ingredients, you'll see that they are not only harsh irritants, they're carcinogenic and neurotoxic. It's kind of disgusting. Many people are told that their implants are impermeable and that there is no problem because they're medical grade silicone and none of that will leach into your body. But as science has proven, that does happen.
Microscopic bleeding of silicone implants, I know that's met with a lot of skepticism amongst mainstream plastic surgeons and implant manufacturers and the rest of the public, but I think this is an example of the silicone or any breast implant shell is not, it's not impermeable, that things can't get through. So the first thing you notice is the difference in the color of the implant. So this is a normal implant, this is the problematic right side. So this is a Mentor 400cc silicone implants, both of them are the same. So on this side, the capsule sac, as you can see, is fairly thin, normal. In some areas you can look right through it. So because there really was nothing going on, so this was just sitting on top of that like that. This side, if you look, is you have this yellow implant. Here's a very much thickened capsule compared to this one. So if you stretch it out, you don't see this transparent, thin, normal capsule look on this side. And also it has all these little yellow particles, which is kind of the same as the fluid, which is same as the implant with that same material inside the implant. So the question really is, how does an implant that started out like this, either through an infection on the outside, get that inside the implant if this shell is completely impermeable, that nothing can get through? Or on the other hand, if this came from the inside, how did that get outside onto the capsule and cause this kind of significant irritation of the surrounding tissues? So really, this is an example of, yes, this keeps the bulk of things in, but certainly when there are microscopic sizes involved, it will get through. And this is an example of something somehow got in there or started out inside and got outside. And then the other thing is, if this kind of shell can't keep this kind of material from going in and out, how's human tissue going to prevent that from happening? So clearly, this probably had an effect on her well-being, and hopefully getting rid of all this will make her symptoms better.
When I got these, I was told that I would have less of a chance of creating a scar capsule around the implant, which I naively believed. But as years passed and more studies were done, they found that textured implants are not only a problem because they start to flake over time, but because your body has to work twice as hard to try and create a capsule, which makes one that is either tougher or sometimes has even been shown to make a double capsule around these. Not only that, women with these particular implants have the increased risk of BIA-ALCL. BIA-ALCL lymphoma is found in the cells between your implant and the capsule. It is like a fluid that builds up in between, and it's only in those type of implant patients. The Daily Telegraph in Australia just released a statistic that in the past 18 months, ALCL lymphoma has raised an alarming 56.5%. More than half of the 20,000 women who have been implanted from 2010 to 2015 were implanted with these rough textured cohesive gel implants, and they have a much higher chance of having that cancer. Something to also remember is that your implant ages. When you are a warm human being against this plastic shell, it is going to constantly degrade. There's already been studies showing this. In 1997, Dr. Lu Jin Fang did a study of thousands of breast implants and found 60% of implants developed some form of hole, tear, or leak within that 10-year lifespan. So if that information has been available for so long, why did it take the FDA until 2006 to recommend MRI screenings for women with breast implants after 3 years of having them? You're meant to have an MRI every 2 years after your 3rd year of having breast implants. But did your doctor tell you that when you got them? So speaking of the FDA, they decided that they needed long-term studies done for breast implants when they reintroduced silicone implants back to the market in 2006. The FDA required the manufacturers to provide that testing, and then they never followed up. It's been over 10 years since silicone implants were reintroduced back onto the market, and we still do not have long-term studies for them. In contrast, there is tons of studies that show that silicone and breast implants are not safe for your body. There is no science lacking in that aspect. The science that's lacking is showing that they are okay for your body. If you're interested in reading up on any of these studies, I'll be linking a lot of them down in my info box for you to go through. I'm also linking a ton of different resources about breast implant illness if you want to look into more of this. But the craziest part about all of this is that breast implant illness is not a recognized thing by the medical world. This is still a known topic, that there is issues, there is the science to back it, and yet the FDA and other surgeons claim that there isn't enough information of people getting sick. It is a completely biased thing. Even if you have implants and you've never shown symptoms, you are not immune from having problems. And that is something that I didn't really realize until I looked into it more. Because regardless of you showing autoimmune symptoms, your body's still trying to protect itself 24/7, and it's spending its energy trying to protect itself against that implant. So with all of that said, what were my symptoms? So the first signs that I was having problems actually showed up about 6 months after getting my implants put in. Though, like I said, I had absolutely no idea that it was all connected. The first things that I was really noticing was fatigue all day, every day. With that fatigue came a lot of anxiety and depression. And I'd never dealt with that in my entire life. I have had periods of being sad and struggling because everyone does, but I felt like I was just hit over the back of the head with depression, and it was awful. Around that time, I started to develop a really nasty body odor. And I'm not talking like BO, I'm talking like metallic, acidic stank. And I couldn't understand why. I went to the doctor, they didn't have an answer. It predominantly was coming out of my left side, and I would full-blown go in the shower, scrub myself until I was almost raw, and spray on deodorant and walk out of the bathroom, and Glenn would still look at me and go, "You stink." It was disgusting, and I was so embarrassed to leave the house. And at that point, I just didn't even want to leave the house because I'm sad and I'm smelly and I'm dealing with fatigue all the time, and it just felt like it was not me. But whenever I went to a doctor, all of my tests came back totally normal, and I was told that I had situational depression. I started getting really bad night sweats as well, to the point of like soaking the bed. I would be getting up in the middle of the night and putting a towel down over top of the bed to just go back to sleep because I'm soaking wet and shivering because I sweat so much in the middle of the night. So those are the things that kind of happened within the first year of getting implants. And since then, little sporadic things had been happening, and again, they were so off the board that none of them really made sense in a linear fashion. And I also never wrote everything down. It was just one of those things of like, oh, like this is happening. I wonder why. That sucks. And then the next month, oh, well, this started happening too. I guess it's aging. I don't know. Is this what it's like to get older? All of these things started popping up, and I'm talking like multiple periods a month, heart palpitations. I was having things like sternum pain, costochondritis, having things like adrenal fatigue and brain fog. My pee started smelling weird. I was having vertigo. I was having hair loss. I started having adult acne, which was so strange because, yeah, I got the occasional zit, but like, if you've been following me, you saw my struggle. It has been relentless. Things like my gut health and having chronic diarrhea every single day, having joint pain and having it be so unexplained. Why at 26 years old was I waking up in the middle of the night in so much pain that it woke me up? In my hips. All of these things made me feel like I was living in a 90-year-old's body. Within the past 2 years, it just started mounting and mounting and mounting. Through working with my naturopath, I discovered that I had a hormonal imbalance, as well as I was having issues with my adrenals. And I was pretty much in fight or flight mode all of the time. After I read those comments and after I did a deep dive on breast implant illness, it was like these light bulbs just started going off in my head, and I started bawling. You can see in the footage, I was so distraught that this is something that nobody ever mentioned to me previously could ever be an issue, and yet every single thing was something that made sense. My timelines of when things started happening made sense. Reasons for my body being disrupted in certain ways made sense. And I wasn't the only person that kept having the same problems. And I think that that was the biggest thing for me, is that the more that I started digging, the more women with implants had the exact same symptoms as I did, and that could not be a coincidence. And it was so hard to not talk to you guys about this at the time because I really wasn't sure if this was something that I was dealing with. I felt like in my heart that this is it and this is the reason, but I didn't want to start talking about it and share my story until I had already explanted and seen a difference from myself. And that's why I'm here. I feel like I got my life back. I can't explain what it's like to seek medical professional help and for them to tell you that you're fine, and for you to deep down know that I'm not fine and I'm dealing with things every single day and I don't know why and nobody's helping me. Oh, snap out of it. I had to take a leap of faith because it felt like no one believed in me. It felt like I was crazy, but I knew that something was wrong and I had to take action. So after all of the research that I did and very careful consideration of there is no definitive way to test for breast implant illness, but in my gut I knew that this is something and that this is very likely the reason why I've been feeling so gross. I came to the conclusion that I would be getting an explant surgery. There is a growing list of surgeons that properly perform a breast implant removal surgery or an explant surgery, as you'll hear me referring to it as. But the reason why you need to go to somebody who knows exactly what to do is because doctors don't typically believe in this being an issue, and a lot of the time when implants were removed, doctors would just slice it right open and just take the implant out, leaving the scar tissue inside of your body still. And that is a massive issue. You need to remove the entirety of that scar capsule because it will not disintegrate in your body.
When the patient has health problems related to the implants, you have to take the capsules out completely. If a patient has a tumor, would you leave the tumor, any amount of tumor inside the body? You will not get well unless the capsule is totally removed.
Hey guys, it is Monday, January 29th, and I just had my first consult for a breast explant. I'm currently in Abbotsford, BC, and I just saw Dr. Aaron Brown. He straight up said, look, I can't guarantee that your implants are what's making you feel this way, but I will say that about 95% of the women that I explant come back and tell me that they no longer have the symptoms that they previously had. He's like, make of that what you will. I didn't ever think that I'd be taking my implants out. I never even considered it, but the more research that I've done, the more people that I've spoke to about this, the more all signs are pointing to get them out. So that is what I'm doing, and I hope that by sharing my journey with you, it causes you to at least think about the implications of what you're doing, because at 22, like I said, I didn't ever expect to be doing this. I really truly thought that it was the right thing for me at the time. I love boobs. I wish that I was born with big breasts. I do. I really like boobs. But if this is what's been making me sick, this is so not fucking worth it. There's nothing in this world that is worth feeling as crappy as I have been and deteriorating over time. So I guess the biggest thing that I want to reiterate is that everyone thinks that this is not going to happen to them. Everyone thinks that they're going to be fine and they'll be the 1% that doesn't have a problem. At some point, you very, very likely might have an issue with your breast implants, and don't wait around. I don't want to scare people. I just want you to be aware that that is a possibility, and also recognize the symptoms. Don't be like me and not put two and two together and go, why are all these weird things happening to my body? Recognize what it possibly could be right away so that you're not chasing your tail, doing all these tests, seeing all these specialists, and getting nowhere with it. Maybe you'll be someone that doesn't react for 10 years. Maybe you'll be somebody who reacts in 6 months. You don't know until that foreign object is in your body, and why risk it? It's not worth it. It's not. Buy yourself a padded bra, get on with your day. What's up guys? I just wanted to give you a live update as I just received some pretty shitty information. I had tried to book my explant surgery for mid-April, as that was kind of always the plan. As I updated you guys last, I had my consult with Dr. Aaron Brown in Abbotsford at the end of January, and I received an email back saying that Dr. Brown is apparently no longer going to be operating, and that they have had to cancel all of their current surgeries and that they will not be booking until next fall. So needless to say, I'm absolutely devastated because I already have had so much anxiety and health issues surrounding this, and especially as of late, it's just been one thing after another after another. I finally felt like I was comfortable with doing the removal, and I was excited to just get it over with, and now it just feels like I now have to start from scratch because I can't wait until fall to do this. I feel awful. I don't know what's gone wrong with that, or if he's had a medical emergency, or if the clinic's just shutting down, or what the deal is, but apparently he's no longer doing explant, at least until later on this year. So with that news, there is not very many people in Canada that do what I need done. So it has now left me with very little option locally to have my explant done. So I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. Traveling for surgery is hard enough to begin with, as well as it is going to be about 3 times the cost, having to travel, pay for airfare, pay for a hotel, pay for the surgery in US dollars. So I'm kind of freaking out, to be totally honest. That's where I'm at. I thought that I would update you guys. This vacation that we're on has not been much of a fucking vacation, I will say that. Yeah, I thought I'd update you guys. So when I have more information, I'll share that, but this is where I'm at. So at that point, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to go local for my surgery, and I started to look into some of the top explant surgeons in the United States. I decided on Dr. Chun because of 2 things. The first being that he is regarded as one of the top surgeons for that, as well as he was the closest surgeon for me to visit. It was much closer than going across to Ohio, where Dr. Fang was located, and she was my first choice. So I had a phone consultation with Dr. Chun, and after that consultation I decided to put down a deposit and book a surgery date. And my surgery date was actually for, I think it was in September of this year, but I asked to be put on a cancellation list. And I absolutely recommend that you ask that, because I was bumped up to April the 24th. I'm so incredibly thankful and lucky that I have a very supportive partner and parents who were able to be there with me for my surgery. So we took my parents' motorhome and we drove to California. All right, we are off to California. All the way to Newport after 3 full days of driving, just settling in. Lola is just hanging out on the beach. How's the drive?
Pretty long.
So it is my day of surgery. It's like 9:45, 9:50 in the morning. My surgery is at 11 o'clock. I'm nervous. I am a little bit scared. I know that I'm in good hands and I know that I'm gonna be okay, but it's still major surgery. I was saying to Glenn, I found it so weird that when I got implants, for whatever reason, I just waltzed into surgery. It didn't even occur to me that there could be a problem. It didn't even occur to me that I should even be scared.
Good morning, everybody. It is the day. Today is the day. I am currently sitting outside of the day hospital and I am really excited.
And it's so strange approaching it from my late 20s. I hate saying late 20s, but I'm 27, so that counts as late 20s. I hate approaching it from, I guess, a more mature part of my life, because I see more risks and I see more things to be scared about, I guess. So I'm just trying to stay as neutral as possible. I'm gonna go and do a meditation. I'm gonna have my mom braid my hair so that I have my hair out of my face and out of my way for the next few days, because I will not be able to shower or do anything with it. I'd rather it not just be in a gross little ponytail. I am wearing a zip front hoodie so that it is easy to get in and out of after surgery. I've been told also that I'm able to wear my sweatpants. So I got my sweatpants on already. Apparently I don't have to take those off for surgery, so it's just kind of upper body thing. What else? I put a patch behind my ear. You can kind of see right there. That is for nausea. I don't believe that I'm able to take my medical dressings off until my first post-op appointment, which will be in 2 days from now on Friday. So I believe I will have to wait until then to kind of see how everything has gone. I am nervous. I will probably miss having a fuller bust. I'm a little bit worried about skin sagging and wrinkling, as I'm not planning on getting a breast lift along with the explant, because I plan on having children in the next year, 2, 3, I don't know, soon. And I plan on breastfeeding if I'm able to. So I just thought it was kind of counterproductive to get a lift and then breastfeed and then have to potentially do that all over again. So yeah, I really hope that today goes well. I am looking forward to my soft, natural, tiny boobs again, and feeling like my back isn't constantly like pulling forward because of the weight on my chest, and being able to sleep on my stomach without feeling like I have freaking water balloons underneath me. I'm ready. I'm scared, but I'm ready. Here, my beautiful hairnet. I'm attached to an IV. I haven't spoken to the anesthesiologist or Dr. Chun yet, but they are next up to come in and say hello. Glenn was able to come back in after I got all hooked up to everything. I had to pee in a cup. It's really all the updates I have for you, other than I'm really sweaty. This back thing is like really warm. Had a last good look at my boobs in the mirror. Had a good squeeze.
Sit by one.
Did you like the last squeeze?
Dun, dun, dun.
20 minutes later.
She's alive.
I gotta pick my nose first, hold on. I almost started crying when I woke up. I just feel like me.
Good.
It tastes like a hospital though. And and this is the reality of after surgery. Hello friends, it is time for my first drain emptying. We've already done one to get the hang of it, and then here's my other one. This is the liquid that's accumulated in the cavity of my breast. It is rather nasty. Glenn is going to help me empty that. You can move the camera away from my chest now.
Yeah, I can.
He's gonna help me emptying this one. So we pretty much have to squish all of the liquid down and into that bulb, and then pour the bulb into a cup. And then there's measurements on the cup, and then we mark down how much I have drained on each side. Pretty much the amount of output determines when I'm able to get the drains out. If there isn't very much that's draining in the next few days, then I can get them out earlier. Or if there is a lot that's draining, I have to keep them in and it'll just be longer. So here's hoping that I drain what I need to drain, and then that's it. YouTube is so gonna flag this. All right, now I gotta go measure this. Hi guys, I'm checking back in. It is about 7 p.m. the day after my surgery. Today went really well. I don't really have any major pain. I just kind of have more dull achiness, especially through my sternum and where my ports are, where the drains are. I've also been using the vaporizer that I purchased. I have a strain called ACDC in here, and it's basically like a 1-to-1 THC CBD ratio. It doesn't give you very much psychoactive experience. It just kind of helps dull your pain and hopefully helps cut down on some of the inflammation that's still in my body. But that's been really nice. It doesn't completely get rid of all of my pain, but it definitely takes the sharp edge of it off so that I don't have to take painkillers throughout the day. Also, I can't get over how white my eyes are. It's absolutely crazy. I've posted a before and after as well on my Instagram stories. I probably will insert those photos in this video so you can see, but it's just incredible. For that to be a one-day difference, it speaks for itself. So I just had my post-op appointment and I got my drains out, which I'm so happy about. I don't have the uncomfortableness of drains and having to deal with them now. And I got my implants back. These are the fuckers that were ruining my life. What's up guys? It is Saturday, 3 days post-op, and I am feeling awesome. I have felt better and better every single day. In the mornings I have a very clear head, no more brain fog. I'm getting like excited butterflies in my stomach again. I just feel myself, way more myself than I have in a long time. This morning I took my first shower and it was awesome. I feel great. It was kind of strange having jiggly boobs again. Like, they're tiny, but like they move. It's really different and they look way better than I thought that they would have, so I'm very pleased. We are leaving our Airbnb today to go back and stay with my parents in the motorhome, and I believe that we're gonna start driving back up the coast to Canada. So I'm pretty excited. Hopefully I continue feeling better and onwards and upwards, because this is a very promising start. I wrote down a little recap of what was happening week by week after surgery. And on week 1, I was able to wear regular shirts over my head as long as they were kind of large enough to get into. I couldn't really wear anything tight. I was wearing a front closure bra as well, so it was just much easier to maneuver in and out of. The first week I was moving slowly, but I was still able to move. I went on lots of walks. My breasts were tender and quite numb, and there was quite a bit of swelling down my sternum. And the incisions were still closing and like scabbing in some areas, and they were still like raised at that point. I noticed within the first week that I was having substantially less brain fog, substantially less fatigue, no heart palpitations, which was incredible because I had been suffering with that for a couple of years at this point, and it feels gross. Anybody that has them knows how awful that is. I didn't have any body odor. I didn't have any weird smell when I peed. I didn't have vertigo or eye blurriness or any night sweats. And that has continued since explant. I haven't experienced any of those things, which thank fucking God. At the 2-week mark, my breasts were noticeably less numb. It was easier to dress and move. I had less inflammation and swelling through here. My shape had changed a little bit. It was less flat between here and became more curved underneath my breast. At week 3, I walked 10 kilometers in one day and I didn't have any aches in my hips. And I wrote that in all capitals because it was such a big moment for me. I called my mom the next morning because it was the first time in the better part of a couple years where I haven't been in massive pain after exercising, which was pretty cool. I do also want to add that I was sleeping inclined using a wedge pillow for up until the 4-week mark, which was easier than I thought it was going to be. If you have a proper wedge pillow that sits you up, it just can help with your body not collecting all the fluid and like inflammation up in your chest because you're basically sleeping sitting up. So I chose to do that. Some people choose to do it for longer, some people choose to do it for shorter, but I stopped at the 4-week mark and I was very happy with that decision. And pretty much from week 4 onwards, I was back to normal life. I still wasn't doing any like upper body exercising, but I went back to the gym at about 6 weeks and I started just with like lower body and cardio and things like that. I waited until about week 10 to integrate any chest or upper body stuff, and I'm still very aware of doing it. I do it slowly and I make sure that I'm not doing crazy fast movements, but I feel absolutely normal healed wise as to do with the chest. When I woke up from surgery, it was like I could breathe again. And I don't know, it's not that you can't breathe when you have implants in, but there's just that threshold of where when you do a deep breath, it just kind of feels like you have to push a little bit more to breathe deeper, and that didn't happen anymore. And it was just such a liberating feeling to feel whole again. I can't really explain it any other way. I was so proud when I took the bandages off for the first time and I got to see my breasts. I was overjoyed. It was something that it was emotional. It is emotional because it's been such a journey. I thought that there might be loose or wrinkled skin, and there definitely wasn't. The only thing that I have noticed physically is that my shape is a little bit different, as well as my nipple slightly indents the tiniest bit when it's just flat and like normal, but like when it gets hard or when it's cold, it totally perks back up like normal. But if I'm like raising my arm, I can definitely tell that my nipple kind of just caves in at the bottom just a little bit. But all of that may change in coming months. So I'm going to show you some photos of how my breasts have changed since getting an explant, and I have absolutely seen massive change over the past, whatever it's been, 12, 13 weeks. I'm excited to see even 6 months from now how they'll look, because they are constantly changing and the tissue is fluffing up again and it just is settling into itself more and more every day. And for shits and giggles, here were my 22-year-old breasts before I had a breast augmentation. Here is my breasts immediately after getting a breast augmentation. Here is my boob job settled in. And here's my boobs directly after explant. And here's my boobs today. So originally my breast size was a 34B. With implants, I was a 34 double D. And now without my implants, I was measured at a 32B, but I comfortably fit a 34B. So I am back to exactly what I was. I feel about the same size. I look a little bit different because my shape is a little bit different. But at the end of the day, I am so grateful and proud that my body is still looking pretty damn good, and I feel so friggin' awesome. I feel more confident now in my body than I did 6 months ago, because this body is one that is getting healthy, and this body is one that serves me. I'm not dealing with health issues every single day. I know that this is something that was not an overnight fix, and things like my digestive and hormonal will probably take a while to balance and my body to detox and to feel 100%, but to already feel this good after only 12 or 13 weeks has just been such a godsend. I feel so grateful that I did it and that I was brave enough to do it, regardless of people saying that it won't make a difference and that I will be gross and have saggy boobs and extra skin afterwards. It's not true. I guess the biggest thing that I wanted to do with this video, other than pointing out that yes, this is something, and that regardless of the medical community acknowledging it at this point in time, this will be something that is acknowledged soon, because more and more people are speaking up about their issues about it, and it's only a matter of time. It was just like smoking. Smoking used to be totally normal. Doctors used to prescribe it for things like anxiety. It's not good for you to have plastic sacks sitting on top of some of your most important organs and glands in your body, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. A lot of people have asked me what I would say to women who are thinking about getting implants, and honestly, since I've been there and I've been in your position, I know how much you think that you want these and how much you think that this will change your life in whatever way that you want it to change your life. Maybe you want it so that your breasts are symmetrical. Maybe you want to feel more feminine. Maybe you want to be more attractive or more confident or whatever. Just because you think that it'll make you feel that way, it isn't this that makes you feel that way. It's your changing of your entire thought process. These don't make me any more of a woman. And that's something that I wish that I had really, truly thought long and hard about. It's something that you will have that decision made and have to live with it for the rest of your life. For the rest of my life, I will have enormous scars on my chest because of a decision that I made at 22 years old. If you're somebody that has implants and you haven't had any symptoms, I hope that you never get them. I really, truly do. But I want you to know that if you start having things happen that just don't really make sense, and if your body isn't seemingly working as well as it should or could, or if you just can't really explain what is going on, don't waste your time. Look into breast implant illness. It is a thing, regardless of the medical community acknowledging it at this point. I really hope that having these conversations and sharing this information really opens some people's minds to at least start the conversation. I'm not a doctor. I do not study this. This is my own personal experience with this, and I can't stress that enough. It's not going to be everyone's story, I realize that, but I do want to share my story in hopes that it may help other people that are struggling like I was, because I felt like I was just going in circles for the longest time. I'm so grateful that I got this shit out of my body and that I am on the road to feeling healthy again, and that I wake up in the morning and I feel good, and you can too. And you're not alone, and you're not crazy if you're having the same problems and you have implants. And there's other women and other people that have had these problems, and if you keep looking for it, more and more information is there for you. So that was a fucking video. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope that this was informative and helpful, and that even if you don't have implants, that maybe you could share this with somebody that has implants, or if you know somebody that's struggling, or you know somebody that's about to get implants. This is information that people should have. I hope this video is received well, because I have the most genuine and pure intentions. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or not do with your body. I just really want to get information to you, and I really don't want anybody to ever go through what I had to go through. Emotionally, physically, monetarily, it's been a huge thing in my life, and I never thought that it was something that I would ever have to deal with or be my story, and it is, and I'm really hoping that some of you can learn from it. I'm hoping that you walk away from this video feeling like you have a little bit more information, or at least you know where to look for more information, because a lot of it does get buried and it does get dismissed, and it doesn't have to, and this could be a conversation if people are brave enough to speak about it. I want to close off this video by reminding you again that this is not me. It is just the shell that I'm walking around in, and that it does not make me any better or worse of a person of what size I am, or where my fat deposits are, or what acne I have on my face. None of those things make up who I am or who you are. You are enough as you are, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone, and it's okay to be imperfect, because it doesn't dictate who you are or the kind of person you are just because you have these in your chest. Just a reminder, there's a ton of links down below in my info box for you to check out. Also, I've shared a lot of my pictures and personal story on my Instagram. I have a highlight titled BII Journey. If you want to check that out, I'll leave that again down below in the info box. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much if you're still here and watching this. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you much, much sooner than the last time I did a video. All right, bye guys.